Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Lessig. This is Podcast for Liberty. And I have to give you all my apologies for the last few weeks, my absence. Um, we've been very busy at the Society for Liberty and Prosperity, and my advocacy, I've been very busy with that. And when I haven't been busy, I've been sick. So I need to do a little bit better at my self care in order to keep from getting sick in order to keep working, in order to run the race with patience. Um, After all, that's how we do this. We are running a race. The race is to liberty. The race is to the finish line. The race is to take our country and our community and make it a better place. Now we can all disagree what that looks like, and I'm open to have those discussions. But what I'm not open for is when they want to ram it down our throats and they want to squelch our voices. And they don't want to have a discussion, they want to have it all their way. Well, let me tell you, I don't get things my way all the time. It might be fun if I did, but I don't. There are certain demands that society imposes and certain demands that we impose on each other for us to all get along. And we do have to be respectful of each other. We have to be respectful and tolerant and to be there one for another. We all have a meeting place. And I believe our meeting place is within the confines of the Constitution. My rights end where yours begin, and your rights end where mine begin. And those rights are spelled out and codified in the Constitution of the United States and in most of our laws. Now, notice that I said most of our laws. Yes, I know there are some laws out there that are either considered or deemed to be unconstitutional, or they may, in fact, be unconstitutional and not contested. Many of these laws should be struck down if they're not in line with the Constitution of the United States, Constitution of Kentucky, or whatever state you're in, whether it be New Jersey or uh, Georgia. And I would like to welcome Liberty and Prosperity in New Jersey to our listenership and to our organization here at the Society as an affiliate. Liberty and Prosperity has been in existence for some time now, and Seth Grossman has just stepped down as the head of Liberty and Prosperity so that he could run for political office. And he is running for state senator. And we here at the Society for Liberty and Prosperity wish him the best of luck and stand ready to assist him should he need it. Now, how this works is if you are with a pro liberty group, you get a hold of me, and then what we'll do is we'll sit and talk about uh, becoming affiliated with each other. And if we decide that we would do good working together, then we would be affiliated with each other, and then you would be an affiliate of the Society for Liberty and Prosperity, and Society for Liberty and Prosperity will be an affiliate for your group. Um, as with any group, we have our bylaws that govern such relationships, and relationship of an affiliate is similar to that of a member, but it's also different. There are different goals involved. There are different procedures involved. Uh, but the thing is it's pretty easy, to be an affiliate. And if we're working together, the more voices we have in the more states, then the more effective we will be in the long run throughout our blessed union. Now, getting back to that, the Society for Liberty and Prosperity is based in Kentucky, and we are working on Kentucky issues based in Barberville, Kentucky. We do work on Barberville issues in Knox County, as well as federal issues. And with our affiliates, uh, we pursue the federal issues. And if you're within Kentucky and you wish to be affiliated with the Society for Liberty and Prosperity, send me an email at daniel at societylp.8m.net, and I'll be happy to open up those discussions. I would welcome the help within Kentucky as well. Yeah, the more of us, the more we can network together, the louder our voice becomes. We can take our collective voice and get so much more done than if we all work all by ourselves. All by ourselves, there's no way we can get anything done. Only by coming together can we hope to have a loud, unified voice. You know, and I'm sure that there are quite a few issues that we could work together on. Already, we've worked together very well with you, the vote. Catherine has been wonderful. She's taken my concerns and raised them, and I've taken her concerns and raised them, and together we were able to impact election integrity at both the state and national levels. And here in Kentucky, we passed election reform, and it is a good law. Uh, the worst of it is with the absentee registration. If you're requesting an absentee ballot, there's a little slight chance that somebody can game the system there. But even with that, with the things that are put into place to safeguard the integrity of the election, it's very difficult. All Kentucky has to do to have a great election is to enforce the law. And yeah, the Society for Liberty and Prosperity has endorsed our election law as it is now. Hopefully, they won't change too much during the year, so that next year we can have a wonderful election. And I do call upon the several states to look at their election laws and strengthen them so that we can have in 2022 a free and fair and honest election. I don't want to have a repeat of 2020. Even though the vote was confirmed and affirmed through the Electoral College and through the process, the specter still exists. And the states where it's been accused still stand accused. And I'm hearing case after case being proven, but it's too late now to do anything about it. And yes, it takes time for these cases to wind through the courts. And no, we did not have time to wait for the trials. That's why I, I call it the specter of voter fraud. You know, it was accused. There is evidence. There is some truth to it. I, for one, believe it happened. And the thing is court case after court case after court case is being heard. And I've heard that many of the cases are coming back as true fact. Now the rest of it, I'll just leave it up to you to do the research. You look up in your state, see if there's accusations of voter fraud, and then see if there are cases, and then plug those cases in, and you'll find out. You know, and there's a few that uh, did not bring back true bills, but the thing is the question still remains: is if there was fraud, was it enough to overturn the election? And my answer to that is it doesn't matter. What matters is that it happened. Those votes should not have been counted to begin with. Now, I know you throw out the good with the bad, but that's about all you can do with the process that we have. And the senators that I counted on to keep the election honest let down. And then, as all of you are aware, Mitch McConnell just before the Electoral College come out and congratulated Joe Biden to be president. He turned his back on Kentucky, and we must not forget that. And yes, I know Mr. McConnell's deciding he's going to be go back to behaving himself a little bit. I think now he's realizing he really didn't get away with anything, and I still believe that if we take our eye off of him, he's going to go back to sign with Joe Biden and start working with Joe Biden while he gives away our country to China, Iran, and Russia. Our hearts go out to the families that have been torn apart in Israel. Hamas is a terrorist organization. Israel should deal with them as such. And I believe that the United States should offer assistance to Israel to eradicate the terrorist organization known as Hamas. As far as I know, they're still listed as a terrorist organization. That's the same thing as Al Qaeda or Taliban or ISIS or one of those other terrorist groups coming over here, bombing the hell out of New Jersey. That's about how big Israel is. It's about the size of New Jersey. And New Jersey is awful close to New York City, and it's awful close also to Washington, D.C. And if they bomb the hell out of New Jersey, pardon my French, but if they bomb the hell out of New Jersey, would we really sit back and let them do it? I think not. I think what would happen is we would have a declaration of war maybe the next day, maybe 2 days, but the Congress will be chomping at the bit to declare war on whoever it was that was bombing New Jersey. I don't think Joe Biden can fight his way out of a paper bag, though. It scares me that we may have to go to war with Joe Biden as president. I don't think he's decisive enough to or qualified to send thousands or perhaps millions of soldiers to their death in the furtherance of freedom and liberty. Hell, Joe Biden isn't concerned one whit about freedom and liberty. He's wanting to take it all away from us. Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, to name a few. Those are the movers and shakers of the Democratic Party. Omar, what's her name? AOC. Yeah, AOC. You know, AOC stands for Associates to the Court, and she's taken her initials, and that's also her initials, and that's what she goes by. Who the hell is she trying to kid? She think that makes her more important, or maybe she's just looking for some free advertising by at the nation's courthouses. I know here in Barberville we got a whole parking lot devoted reserved for AOC, and AOC stands for Associates to the Court. That's where the lawyers park and the judges, uh, district attorneys park there. People who work in the county clerk's office, fiscal court, chief magistrate. That's their parking lot. The people that work at the courthouse. That's employee park. AOC is Associates to the Court. That's how we got our county government is as a fiscal court. And it's interesting to sit through the meetings and watch them as they discuss how to pay the bills and how to provide services to the people of the county. And once in a while, they actually manage to draft and make a new law, not just naming a street, but you know, maybe setting a fine for jaywalking or new parking ordinance or a new speed limit somewhere. Yeah, the I guess is yeah, and I'm there advocating for those who cannot advocate for themselves. And month in, month out, I'm there. And I believe it's coming up next week is the fiscal court meeting. And I'm working very well with Executive Judge Mitchell and the other gentlemen that make up the fiscal court, who all get together and make sure order is maintained in Knox County, Kentucky. And thought I was going to have a good relationship with Mr. Tom Odell Smith, who is my representative in Frankfurt. I think I get along better with Mr. Stivers, who's the senator in Frankfurt for my area. He's also the majority leader in the state house. And Rand Paul, I was able to discuss with him some of the things that I had on my mind. We didn't have much time, but yeah, I do feel a little bit better after talking to him. What do we got? We got another week. A week from Monday is Memorial Day. A week from Monday is Memorial Day, and the Society for Liberty and Prosperity is sponsoring a community picnic here in Barberville, Kentucky. And every one of you all are invited. If you're viewing this, you're listening to me, you're hearing my voice, no matter where you're at, no matter what you're doing, let me tell you and invite you to come to Barberville, Kentucky. Our community picnic is on Memorial Day, and it is at the city park. Now, people around here call it the Duck Pond. There also used to be a water park on the site, and it's called the Barberville Recreation Park, I believe is what it's called on Google. So if you want to do a day trip, and if you want to come down for a couple of days, we have a fine motel in town. You want to come, spend the night, and then go back home the next day. We'd love to have you. I would love to see a good turnout at our picnic, and I would love to see a lot of you, my viewers, listeners of my podcast. I'll be there. I'll be ready to shake your hand, introduce yourself to me, and we'll give a kind word to each other. There are things going on, and there's a lot coming down the pike. We got a pipeline in and out of government, and we got two ways to go in this world. We have the way of liberty and a way that goes leads to death. I would rather y'all choose liberty, choose life. I hear they're getting ready to do another case on the Roe versus Wade abortion front. Let me tell you, I haven't brought it up in society yet, but my personal views is abortion is murder. Life begins at conception. Once the sperm and the egg get together, a baby is born. Just as when the sperm and the egg come together in a chicken egg, a chicken is born. What do you call it? When it's a clump of cells, you can't recognize it. But within the first trimester, it has taken on human form, and all the parts are there. They just need to grow and mature a little bit. And gestation, human beings, is 9 to 10 months. In dogs, it's what, 4 months? And some fish, gestation is a matter of days. We imagine you have sex, pop baby out next day. Well, that's material for another podcast. But it is an evil thought, though. And yes, we can entertain evil thoughts and have fun with them, but as long as we keep his thoughts. When we let them out, that we invite the criticism. It used to be John Kennedy's day that liberals did stand for liberty. And when the liberals stopped serving the cause of liberty, that's when the libertarians came to be. Because the liberals chased away the libertarians. And they've been going further, and the Democratic Party has been going further and further left. And now the Democratic Party, I do believe, has kicked out all the liberals and is now embracing the communists. And the communists is the cause of Russia falling during Ronald Reagan's time era. And I remember those days in Russia, and people in Russia were dying to come to the United States, but Russia wouldn't let them. They were trapped behind that iron curtain. And behind that iron curtain, you had no rights. No one had any rights. And there was no tourism between Russia and the United States like there is today. Yes, in Russia, there is a certain amount of freedom, but if Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and AOC and Ariel like communism so much, why don't they go to Russia? Because it's still there to some extent. And if they want to live under those rules and dictates, why don't they move to where they're being celebrated? Why do they have to change our country? A country formed in liberty, a country where we have thrown off the shackles and created a government of our own design and of our own consent. I know why. They think they could rule over us, and they want to be the rulers. They don't want to be the followers, they want to be the rulers. And the United States is just yet another prize for 'em. That's why we need to get in there and raise our voices and come together under one flag, under one banner, come together so that we can defeat their evil forces. And mark my words, as they're not the only ones. There's plenty more where that came from. Mark Zuckerberg comes to mind with his censorship, trying to squelch the voices of liberty and freedom, such as mine. And if he were to have his way, he'd probably squelch mine too and not care about it two wits. But he also knows that if he did that, he wouldn't have any defense. He has to have some people talking about liberty, in order to sit there and say, I'm not doing that. Yeah, Bart Simpson. Bart Simpson's favorite line. I didn't do it. For him to say I didn't do it, he needs to allow the voices of liberty and freedom because it is being much more well documented where these voices are being squelched. And YouTube's still deleting stuff from the allegations of the election. I'm glad you're all viewing this live because once YouTube censors get a hold of this episode may disappear. And eventually, when YouTube gets tired of me, they'll make me disappear. But I'm looking for new venues, and I've found a few. Now, for you all that are running those platforms, please get a hold of me. My budget is very limited. I have very little funds, and if you can put my voice out, I would very much appreciate it. And if you can put it out for free and reap the advertising money, hey, I'm game for that. My needs aren't great, and if you're going to be reaping the advertising money, and then you end up you can cut me a little bit of a paycheck, hey, I appreciate that. Make my time more worthwhile. We can talk about those terms and more. So, if you have a new platform that you want to have somebody on it, drop me a line, send me an email, let me know you're out there. And then maybe together we can figure out how to get hooked up. I'm looking for new platforms. So far, I'm looking at Gab. I'm already on Rumble, and there's a few other ones. I'm not going to say where, but they're lesser known. And I do have a small audience there, so my word's going to get out. I don't necessarily need YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram to put my words out because my words are going to get out. I don't even need Google because we got Bing, DuckDuckGo, and all the other search engines. You know, and if you love your liberty and you are using Google, think about it. Do you think Google might be? I'm, we're not saying definitely. Do you think Google might be censoring some of the content you're interested in? And if it is, maybe you should consider using one of the other search engines like Bing. I don't have any problem using Bing. I even get more search results from Bing than I do from Google. And when it comes to my website, it might not be on Google, but it'll be on Bing. And yes, I do search for my own website every so often, about once every 2 or 3 months. And here's what I found is sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. And I use the same search terms each time. And don't tell me it's got to do with analytics and traffic. I had Google Analytics hooked up to it, and Google Analytics is taking themselves off of my website. And they no longer display their results to me. Just like YouTube doesn't display their counts or anything about my videos to me. Everything returns back zeros. Well, I got news for you guys. I'm still getting emails. I'm getting emails that prove, and those emails prove that people are viewing me, listening to me from whatever source they're viewing me and listening to me from. Like I said, my word's getting out there. I'm not worried about that. You guys are more worried about squelching me, and there's no way you can do it because you don't know everywhere that I am. And to get rid of my voice, you have to be everywhere that I am in order to be effective at squelching my voice. So quit trying. Let's go back to the way things were so that you can again begin to build the respect of your fellow citizens. Go back to the ways of free speech where everybody has a voice and everybody can say what they will. And the thing is, the hate speech will deal with that when the time comes. And how you deal with the hate speech is by not by censoring them, it's by letting them know it won't be tolerated. Now, if it is untrue, it should not be tolerated. And if it is true but insulting, if it goes to inciting violence, it should not be tolerated. But if it's simply insulting or something that you just don't agree with, It's got to be out there. The marketplace of ideas, just that, it is a marketplace for ideas. And may the best ideas win. The majority will pick and choose who they will listen to and who they won't. And by and large, the people wish to listen to more conservative voices because how many of the liberals are out there with no audience? How's Lou Dobbs doing lately? I can't say I've seen any of his podcasts lately. That's one liberal that comes to mind. Is he still on CNN? I don't know. I don't routinely watch CNN because they're so liberal, and most of what they put out there is yellow journalism anyway. When I consume my news, generally it's more along the lines of Fox News. They got a lot of BS on there too, but the thing is they do have some stories that are worthy of belief. And I'm getting more and more picky as to what I believe. First, what for me to believe it, it has to be plausible. It has to be possible. Next, it also has to be probable. And the thing is when somebody is accused of a crime, they have the right to innocence. So when we hear about somebody being arrested for this or that, well, we can't simply just jump in there and say, I hope they hang them out high. No, oh, that's too bad they got arrested. Okay, let's see what happens at trial. Now, once they get convicted, then they can go to jail for good. But until they get convicted, they have a right to bail and they have a right to assist in their own defense and they have a right to defend themselves. They have their right to due process. And it frustrates me that there are still people in jail in solitary confinement from the January 6th violence. I'm not calling it an insurrection. I'll call it violence. Although that's even stretching stretching it a bit. All we have is a bunch of broken windows and one dead body that's directly attributable to violence. And the one dead body we got is that lady that was killed by a Capitol Police officer. What happened to that Capitol Hill police officer? Are they getting ready to stand trial for what he did? He done took a life from a woman that was not armed. And if he's not going to stand trial, then why? Is her life so cheap because she's not black? Or would she? Or was she? Was she black, white, or was she purple with blue polka dots? Is she any less of a human being than anybody else? And then Officer Chauvin, railroaded. He didn't have anything to do with Mr. Floyd's death. He held him down, yes. But Mr. Floyd died from a drug overdose, and the trial brought that out. I watched the trial, and it's a travesty what happened. I watched the trial as the prosecution put on its case, and then the defense. The defense did a really good job of bringing the holes, bringing attention to the holes in the prosecution's case, especially about the toxicology reports. how much and illustrate how much drugs was in his system. It's no wonder he died of respiratory arrest and a heart attack. That's not because of anything the police officer did. And when it came time to poll the jury, I watched that too. And I heard the one juror sit there and say, no, that was not his vote. But the judge ignored it and moved on and went on, never did address the no vote and proclaimed him as convicted, as if that no vote never happened. That no vote should have been enough to acquit Officer Chavez. And that's what I heard loud and clear on the television set. I'm sure it's there on the tape unless they doctored it. And I'll bet, by now they probably have doctored it to take it out. Got no doubt about that. And as loud as it was on the television set, you can't tell me that the judge didn't hear it because that was the loudest voice I heard. Louder, the yes were rather meek, and that no was no. Sounded like it was right next to the camera. They railroaded that man. I hope he gets a new trial, and I hope they acquit him because I make my judgment. I judge him as being innocent. He had nothing to do with the death. I feel sorry for that lady up in Buffalo, Minnesota, uh, Buffalo Cliffs or something like that. I feel sorry for her. She's gonna go to jail for making a mistake. She meant to grab her taser, grabbed her service weapon instead, and owned up to it. I believe if anybody deserves a second chance at it, she does. But the thing is, when you're not respecting the rule of law and you're not respecting law and order, how can you respect the police officers? And how can you give them benefit of the doubt? And when everything is all about slavery and quote, keeping the nigger down, unquote, how can society survive? How can society survive when we're all created equal and some of us are not being treated equally? Society can't survive that. So we need to endeavor to treat each other more equally. Time of slavery is long past. And yes, I know there's still slavery going on and it should be stamped out, especially here in the United States. 16th Amendment, along with President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, have affirmed the evils of slavery and that it is outlawed in the United States. And yet, people say it still persists. It should be stamped out. And the people responsible should be paying their debt to society. And that brings us to the coyotes, the crisis on the border. Joe Biden has allowed this crisis to happen by throwing open the border. Donald Trump brought order down there, and the Border Patrol done a great job at securing the border while the border wall was going up. First thing Joe Biden did was stop construction on the border wall. Next thing he did was told the Border Patrol that they didn't have a job anymore. Oh, he didn't fire anybody. He just turned around and told them to stop working. They're not enforcing the law anymore. They're sitting there looking, being babysitters, directing them to what, internment camps where they can live in squalor while their case is being reviewed. And how long are they going to be there? Are they going to be there years, months, days? What kind of conditions are they in? They won't tell us. Oh, there have been some cameras that gone in to see, check on the children, and they are living in squalor. The better ones have toilets that don't work. The worst ones don't have toilets at all. And they were complaining about Trump keeping them in cages. I don't believe Donald Trump kept them in cages. I believe that was misinformation from the left. Just, and let's put that in the same column as Russian collusion and incitement to violence on January 6th. Oh, as well as voter fraud. Yeah, they're some circles have Donald Trump initiating voter fraud. I've heard that complaint too during the 2020 election. Good news for you. Donald Trump didn't commit any voter fraud. But I'll tell you this much, Joe Biden's the benefactor of it, of what did happen. Now, I can't say he usurped the office because the thing is legally he's entitled to be there. So he didn't usurp anything. We got 3 more years of Joe Biden plus, whatever's left of. We're getting there. We're in May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. We got 7 more months till the first of the year. So we got 3 years, 7 months of Joe Biden left. And then we'll have an opportunity to elect a new president, throw this bum out. I hope we don't have to elect another bum. And then we'll have 2 more years after that to throw out another bum named Mitch McConnell. Who knows? Maybe I'll take him out again in 2026. I'm afraid I might be too old for it. We'll see. We'll see who comes up. Maybe I can support somebody else to somebody younger, maybe in their 30s, late 20s, maybe. That love liberty that won't be corrupted like Mitch McConnell's been corrupted. That won't turn into a rhino. But I don't know. 2020, threw my support behind Mitch McConnell because of his past performance. That was a mistake. I'm owning up to it. I wish I would have considered 2008 and the similarities between 2008 to 2020. If I seen it coming and back in January 2008, I should have thrown my hat in the ring then. Took him on. But I wasn't sure if I was ready yet at that point. And I wasn't worried about it either because Mr. McConnell had a little bit of trust in me in that from me. I took him out in 2008. In 2009, I worked very hard for liberty, for my liberty. In 2010, when I got sick and up in the hospital, it was not until 2015, 2014 maybe, 14 or 15 before I got back. No, 2015 when I got back to work. 2014, I was able to become peer support specialist. But I didn't get to work until 2015. I'm pretty sure of that. I'll check my records and get back to you on that. But and I'm getting more confident as I go. But misplaced my trust like I did kind of kills my confidence a little bit. But that's okay. I'll move on and I'll get it back. And I'll keep doing well. Pace myself, take what I've learned in self care, and make sure and demand it of everybody else that they take care of themselves too. The cause of liberty can wait while we take care of ourselves. But the cause of liberty is urgent and needs all of us to come together. Not just the work of one, but the work of all of us as many, being in one, under one banner, under the banner of the Society for Liberty and Prosperity. If you're not already affiliated, come under our banner. You'd be more than welcome. And even if you are affiliated elsewhere, it's good to be with more than one. And if the organization that you're with becomes an affiliate, perhaps you could be the contact between us, being a member of both, because that's who we look for as far as contact people. It's in our bylaws that every affiliate that we're affiliated with, we have to have a contact person for that affiliate so that we can work together on issues that pertain to both of us, so that we have a united front. And these representatives that take our phone calls and get these bills, and they see this laundry list of organizations that support these bills. The more names you got on there, the better, because they know that they're all unified, they're all working together. Just like more co-sponsors get bills passed easier. The more groups that are on these bills, the easier they are to pass to. The easier it is to communicate with our representatives and legislators so that we have a loud voice and we're all better together than we are alone. We're all a family. We are a family of Americans. Let's become the family of patriots, people that love this country and are willing to support and defend it. My name is Daniel Lesnick, and until next week, this is Podcast for Liberty. Thank you.